My daughter betrayed me over a heirloom, then honoured her dad's mistress instead of me. What would you do if your own daughter, your flesh and blood, chose her dad's pregnant mistress over you, all for a sapphire necklace? This isn't a drama series. It's my real story. They say some betrayals hit harder than others. But nothing prepared me for the day my husband of 20 years sat me down at the kitchen table, cleared his throat, and told me he had been sleeping with his secretary. 5 years. I'm Linda, 45, graphic designer, mum to a teenage daughter I love more than life itself. I live in Austin, Texas. And I used to think I had it all. A good job, a nice house, and Brad, the man I married right out of college. Brad was charming, the kind of guy who lit up a room, but behind the smile, he had secrets. Secrets that took root and rotted everything we'd built together. He told me everything on a rainy Tuesday, like it was just another item on his to-do list. I've been seeing someone. Her name's Rachel. It's been going on for a while. How long? 5 years. The breath left my body. I stared at him, heart pounding, waiting for the punchline that never came. He looked sorry, but not sorry enough. And Linda, she's pregnant. It was like the earth cracked beneath me. All I could think about was our daughter, Emma, 17, smart, driven, and about to graduate high school. I thought, how do I tell her father's a liar, that the life she knew is over? But I didn't scream. I didn't throw a thing. I did what moms do. I thought of my child. We agreed to keep things civil. No messy divorce drama, just signatures and silence. Brad moved out within 2 weeks. I got the house. He got the apartment across town. At first, Emma seemed to handle it well. She stayed with me, went to school like nothing happened. I told myself she was being mature. But looking back, I see now, she wasn't okay. She started spending more time at Brad's. At first it was just weekends, then Wednesdays. Then she'd stay over and text me, "I'm at Dad's tonight, don't wait up." I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to push her away, but I should have, because Rachel wasn't just Dad's girlfriend. She was infiltrating my daughter's world, one fun movie night at a time. One night, Emma came home late, smelling like someone else's perfume. She threw her bag on the counter and smiled. "Rachel made enchiladas. So good. You should try her recipe." I nearly choked on my tea. I kept calm, but inside, my stomach turned. This woman had destroyed my marriage, and now she was cooking for my daughter? I tried to talk to Emma, asked if she was okay. She said I was being dramatic. "She didn't do anything to you. Dad made the choice. Rachel's actually nice." Nice. That word felt like poison. I didn't say what I wanted to say. That nice people don't sleep with married men for half a decade. That nice people don't carry babies while the wife they betrayed tucks her daughter in at night, trying not to cry. But I stayed quiet. I kept being the steady one, the one who listened, the one who showed up, because I believed, naively, that love and consistency would win. Then one weekend, Emma didn't come home at all. No calls, no texts. I panicked until I saw a post on Instagram. Her, Brad, and Rachel at the lake. Big smiles, matching hats, like a family. And there I was, watching from a screen like some outsider in my own life. That night, I sat alone at the kitchen table, the same spot where Brad confessed. I stared at my wedding photo still hanging on the wall, wondering how love could rot so quietly without anyone noticing. I didn't cry. Not yet. Because even in that moment, I didn't know that this betrayal, this was just the beginning. College applications had come and gone. Emma, my bright, ambitious girl, had her eyes set on an elite business school in New York. She wanted out of Austin, out of Texas, out of the past. And I understood that. Honestly, I wanted that for her too. But dreams don't come cheap. Even with a partial scholarship, the tuition numbers made my stomach twist. We sat at the kitchen table one evening, just the two of us, like old times. Except now, there was a wall between us. Neither of us wanted to admit was there. "Mom," she said, her voice flat but hopeful. "I need your help with the tuition." "I'll pay what I can," I told her. "Half, but your dad will need to cover the rest." That's when her expression hardened. She fiddled with her phone, her fingers tapping the edge of the case. "Dad says Rachel's on bed rest. They're tight on money because of the baby." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. "Emma, he's still your father. This is his responsibility too. I'm just saying," she snapped. "If he can't help, we need to figure something else out." That "we" stuck in my ears like a bad song. I raised her, I fed her, I stayed while he played house with someone else. And now we were the ones scrambling? She looked up at me then, and I saw it in her eyes, calculated, desperate. "There's always the necklace." Silence fell like thunder. "What did you just say?" My voice was barely above a whisper. "The sapphire necklace, the family heirloom. You said it's valuable, right? Maybe we could sell it, just for school." I stared at her like she had morphed into someone else. That necklace had been in our family for over a century, passed down from mother to daughter like a whisper of history. My grandmother wore it at her wedding. My mother gave it to me when I turned 21. I hadn't even considered giving it to Emma yet, because I wasn't sure she understood what it meant. "It's not for sale," I said firmly. "Why not?" she asked, eyes narrowing. "It's just sitting in a box." "Because it's not just a necklace, Emma. It's our legacy. It's your great-great-grandmother's story. It's the only thing that's been passed through 5 generations of women in this family without being broken." She scoffed. "So your dead relatives matter more than my future? Got it." The venom in her tone stunned me. I saw the bitterness blooming in her like a weed. But more than that, I saw something else. Influence. That wasn't Emma talking. That was Rachel. That was Brad. That was weeks, months of whispered justifications and quiet poisoning. I reached across the table. "Emma, listen to me. You'll get your education. I will do everything I can. But we do not sell our bloodline to pay for what your father should have planned for." She pulled back like my touch burned. "You just want control. You want me to stay here and suffer because you did. But I'm not you." That was the knife. Not the betrayal. Not the suggestion to sell the necklace. It was hearing her say she didn't want to be anything like me. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay in bed with the necklace in my hand, the cool sapphire resting against my palm. I thought of my mother, how she cried when she gave it to me, how proud she was. And I cried, too, because I realized Emma didn't understand any of it. Not the weight, not the history, not the pain. The next morning, she was gone. No note, no text, nothing. I found out later that she had moved in with Brad and Rachel permanently. No discussion, just gone. And the worst part, I wasn't surprised. I was just hollow. Graduation day, supposed to be one of the proudest moments in a mother's life. You imagine standing in the crowd, clutching tissues and a camera, watching your child cross the stage with their whole future ahead of them. But for me, it was the day my daughter made it crystal clear I no longer had a place in her story. A week before the ceremony, I got an invitation, but not to the graduation itself. No seat saved, no parking pass, no program with Mom scribbled next to my name. Just a generic invite to the post-graduation party at Brad's house. Yeah, Brad's house. The house he now shared with Rachel, the same woman who had slithered into my marriage and, somehow, into my daughter's heart. I stared at that envelope for a long time, thought about throwing it away, but something inside me, maybe hope, maybe desperation, made me keep it. I told myself, maybe she didn't handle the invites. Maybe it was a mistake. Then I opened Instagram. Emma had posted a photo of her in cap and gown, flanked by Brad and Rachel. The caption, "Couldn't have done it without my lucky charm, #family first." I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. No mention of me, no tag, no thank you for the woman who raised her, fed her, picked her up from ballet for 12 years. Just Rachel, in my colours, wearing a necklace I had never seen before, but suspiciously similar to the one I had once worn in my wedding photos. The comments poured in. "So sweet. You look just like your stepmom. Such a beautiful family. Power couple goals." I wanted to scream, but the pain sat like a boulder in my chest, unmoving, heavy, suffocating. That afternoon, I drove to Brad's house. I stood in the backyard, surrounded by people I barely knew anymore. Parents from her school, Emma's friends, Brad's business buddies. And there she was, glowing, laughing, posing for photos. She saw me. Our eyes met. But she didn't rush over. She didn't hug me. She walked, to me like I was a distant cousin who happened to show up. "Hey, Mom. Glad you could come." Like I was just another guest. I swallowed hard. "You look beautiful." She smiled. "Thanks. Rachel helped me pick the dress." Of course she did. I tried to stay. I really did. But then came the speeches. Emma stood on the little patio stage with a microphone in her hand, her face lit up with pride. "I just want to thank the people who got me here today," she began. "My dad, for supporting me through everything, and Rachel, for being my constant, my cheerleader, my rock." The crowd clapped, people beamed. And me? I was invisible. Not one word. Not even a glance. I felt like a ghost in my own life. The woman who gave birth to her, who raised her, who stayed, completely erased. Someone handed me a drink. I don't even remember who. I just stood there, numb, while the crowd celebrated. I left before cake, before the toasts, before I broke down in front of strangers. That night, I sat in my car in the driveway, staring at the house that used to be mine. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. I wanted to hate her, to scream at her, to demand why. But all I could do was cry. Because the truth is, betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the person you love the most calling someone else mom. I thought I'd reached my limit, that after being erased at my daughter's graduation, I had felt every kind of pain a mother could feel. But life had one more twist waiting, and this one, it didn't come from me. It came from George, my ex-father-in-law, Emma's grandfather, the only person who still looked at me and saw family. George was old school, Texas oil money, firm handshake, clean boots, the kind of man who said little but meant every word. After the divorce, he kept in touch. He called on holidays. He brought pecan pie at Thanksgiving. And more than once, he told me, "Linda, no matter what Brad did, you'll always be my daughter-in-law." I never expected him to get involved. He had his own life, his own empire. But he watched. He saw everything, from the graduation speech to the Instagram posts. And apparently, he had reached his limit too. A week after the party, George invited us all to his ranch for a family announcement. Brad showed up in a crisp white shirt, Rachel waddling beside him with her baby bump and smug little smile. Emma trailed behind, eyes on her phone. I came last, alone, dreading whatever was coming. We gathered in his wide, cedar-panelled living room. The fireplace crackled. The tension was thick. George stood, holding a thick manila envelope in one hand, a glass of bourbon in the other. "I was planning to hand this to Emma today," he began, nodding at her. "It's the final paperwork for transferring ownership of GT Properties' newest real estate branch. Your graduation gift. Your future." Emma's face lit up. Brad grinned. Rachel clapped. "But after what I've seen, the disrespect, the entitlement, the betrayal of the one woman in this room who actually kept this family together, I've had a change of heart." He looked straight at Emma. "You honored a woman who broke up a marriage, and you erased the woman who raised you. That's not strength. That's weakness." Silence. Rachel's mouth fell open. Brad looked like someone had slapped him. Emma stammered, "Grandpa, I didn't mean." George didn't blink. He pulled the papers from the envelope, legal notarized documents, and tore them in half. Right there, in front of all of us. "I'm cutting you off, Emma. No company, no trust fund, no support. You want to be an adult? You'll earn it, just like Linda did." The sound of those papers tearing, it was louder than any scream I'd ever heard. Emma gasped, hands shaking. "This is Mom's fault. She poisoned you against me." George turned to me then. Linda didn't have to say a word. I saw it with my own eyes. Rachel reached for Brad's arm, but he was frozen, caught between his past and the mess he'd made. Emma's voice cracked. "You can't do this. I'm your granddaughter." George's voice was calm. "Blood doesn't buy loyalty, sweetheart. Character does." And just like that, it was done. The empire that Emma thought would fall into her lap disappeared in one bold, brutal move. I should have felt guilty, but I didn't. For the first time in years, I felt seen, vindicated. Not because she lost something, but because someone finally stood up for me. As we filed out, Emma turned to me, eyes full of tears and rage. "You ruined everything." I didn't flinch. "No, Emma, you did that all on your own." I thought, after George's dramatic stand, Emma would reflect. Maybe even apologize. But no, the betrayal wasn't done. It had just evolved. A week after the ranch confrontation, my phone buzzed with notifications. Non-stop. I opened Instagram, Facebook, then TikTok. And there she was. Emma, sitting in her old bedroom at Brad's house. Eyes red, voice trembling, talking to a camera. My mom is a narcissist. She manipulated my grandpa into cutting me off. She's always been controlling, selfish, and emotionally abusive. 30 seconds in, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. She wasn't just venting. She was rewriting the story, and I was the villain. She refused to help pay for my college, Emma continued. Even though she has jewelry worth thousands, she said her dead relatives mattered more than me. I froze. She had twisted every word, every moment. And the worst part? People believed her. The comments were brutal. Sounds like you were raised by a toxic mom. That necklace belongs to you. Don't let her guilt you. Justice for Emma. The hashtag started trending. The video got over 400,000 views in 2 days. I was being dragged by strangers who had never met me. My name was in Reddit threads. My LinkedIn inbox was flooded with hate. My world, my job, my friendships, my reputation was being shredded online, all because my daughter couldn't handle consequences. George saw the video, called me within an hour. "This has gone far enough," he said. "We're taking legal action." At first, I hesitated. This was still my child. No matter what she said, what she did, she was still Emma. But then I thought about everything. The necklace, the graduation, the speech, the lies. And now, my entire life being smeared for likes and sympathy. So I agreed. George's lawyers moved fast. Within 48 hours, Emma and Brad were served with a defamation notice. Emma panicked. She posted a new video crying harder, claiming we were trying to ruin her life, that we were silencing her truth. But this time, the comments were different. "Wait, didn't you say your mum paid part of your tuition? Weren't you the one who didn't invite her to graduation? Now it's giving clout-chasing vibes." People started to dig, and when they found the truth, old photos, screenshots of Emma thanking me in DMs, text messages I'd saved, it flipped fast. The TikTok she thought would destroy me? It became evidence. Within a week, she deleted every post, but it was too late. Because the damage was done, and the internet doesn't forget. If life was a chessboard, Emma had played herself into a corner, and she didn't even see it coming. After deleting the TikToks and watching her online support vanish, she went back to Brad and Rachel like a wounded bird, expecting comfort, protection. What she got was war. Rachel was 7 months pregnant. Her hormones were a wildfire, her temper sharper than ever. And while she'd once smiled and played the cool bonus mom, the moment those videos started making Brad look bad, she flipped. "You embarrassed us," she told Emma, according to George. "You jeopardized our privacy, our baby, our future." Emma argued. She screamed. She cried. But Rachel didn't care. And Brad? He didn't defend her. Not once. That night, things exploded. Emma made one last, desperate plea to Brad. "You have to tell her to stop. I'm your daughter." And Rachel, calm, dangerous, looked her dead in the eye. Not for much longer. The argument that followed was nuclear. Plates thrown, doors slammed. And then, the moment no one expected. In a fit of rage, Emma pushed Rachel. Not hard, not viciously, but enough. Enough to make her stumble. Enough to send Rachel into a panic, clutching her stomach, gasping, screaming for Brad. Emma froze, so did Brad. Then came the ambulance, the sirens, the flashing red lights that lit up the perfect little front lawn of their picture-perfect suburban life. Rachel was okay. The baby was okay. But something shifted that night. Brad snapped. "This is it," he said. "You crossed the line. You're out." Emma begged. She got down on her knees. She said it wasn't her fault, that she didn't mean it, that she was sorry. But Brad had made up his mind. "You don't live here anymore," he said coldly. "You're not safe to be around Rachel, or the baby." Her last lifeline. Cut. The man she chose over me. The man she defended. The man she erased me for. He erased her with one sentence. She had nowhere to go. No dorm, no apartment, no job, no allies. And that's when George did something that made me cry, not out of sadness, but something closer to grace. He let her stay in the guest house at his ranch. Not the main house. Not with warmth or smiles, but with shelter and silence. He said, everyone deserves a second chance, but not a free one. And Emma, for the first time in her life, she started to grow up. 3 months passed. Emma didn't post, didn't call, didn't ask for money. She lived quietly in George's guest house, working part-time at a local coffee shop, taking online courses, slowly trying to piece her life back together. And me? I watched from afar, some nights. I held that sapphire necklace in my hand and wondered, if my mother were alive, what would she say? Would she forgive so easily? Or would she walk away? I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. Then one rainy Tuesday, exactly 1 year after the day Brad confessed his affair, my phone buzzed. It was a video link. Emma, on camera. No makeup, no filter. Just her, raw and trembling. "I want to tell the truth," she said, "about my mom." I braced myself. But this time, there were no lies, no victim act. Just tears, just accountability. She didn't ruin my life. I did. I believed people who didn't deserve my trust. I said things that weren't true. I let resentment turn into cruelty. She paused, took a shaky breath. "And Mom, if you're watching this, thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on you." I cried, but not out of pain. This time, it was release. A week later, she knocked on my door. Not with flowers, not with a grand gesture, just a letter and a cup of my favourite coffee. She didn't ask to come in. She didn't beg. She just handed it to me, looked me in the eye, and said, "I don't expect anything. I just wanted to try." I read the letter that night. It was messy, real. She told me about the guilt, the nights she cried herself to sleep, the moment she realised Brad had never loved her the way I did. And at the very end she wrote, "Maybe I don't deserve the necklace or your forgiveness, but I hope one day I earn your trust again." I didn't hand her the necklace. Not yet. But I invited her in. We sat on the couch, drinking lukewarm coffee, crying and laughing in between silences. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was a beginning. A new chapter. One I would write with her, this time with boundaries, with honesty, with lessons neither of us would forget. As for Brad, last I heard, Rachel left him after the baby was born, said she was done raising 2 kids. And honestly, I didn't care. Because I wasn't looking back anymore. I was building forward. With scars, yes, but also with strength. If this story struck a nerve, tell me, would you have forgiven Emma? What would you do as a mother? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like and share if you believe some betrayals can heal, but not without truth. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that hit where it hurts and heal where it matters.